Let's go to Washington, Dan.
All right.
Let's talk about another former Pac-12 school. And you might be surprised to know this is another team that I am all in on. I'm all in. I think context, again, is important.
Okay.
I think it was a mass exodus last year after Kalen DeBoer bolted for Alabama. Jedd Fisch was named the coach. He cobbled it together, the best he could on short notice, but line play was a struggle bus. They only had 6 healthy scholarship offensive linemen last spring. Still, they went 6-6. Yeah. Lost the bowl game to Louisville. It was not a particularly explosive offense. They were really bad on third downs. They gave up a lot of sacks, maybe because of that line.
Definitely a different team with Damon Williams than Will Rogers, although he was sacked 10 times against Oregon. Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm putting down, because this is all the very long way of saying that despite the fact that they went 6-6 and there were a bunch of warts that they got to deal with, none of it matters because they found Damon Williams, who I think looks like the real deal. He went off in the Sun Bowl, had 420 yards and 5 touchdowns. Smaller dude, like 5'11", 200, but elusive as hell, a good passer, has track speed. Will Rogers was the starter for most of the year, but Jedd got Damon Williams some work the full way through, I think because he knew what he had.
Yeah.
So if you look at his stat line over the course of the year, and it's not indicative, but 78% of his passes were completions, an 8-to-1 TD to interception ratio. Now a full offseason to build this thing with him as the dude. And Jedd Fisch brings in some reinforcements, right? Via the portal, via the high school ranks. I think they are set for a pretty big jump here. Jonah Coleman, who I like, is back at running back as well.
Yeah.
The wide receiver room, quietly pretty decent. Not as good as it was 2 years ago, obviously, but quietly pretty decent. The lines are restocked. They should be better. And then on top of all of that, Jedd Fisch goes out and he hires Ryan Walters to take over the defense, who was recently fired from Purdue, but before then was really good as a defensive coordinator for Illinois.
When you can get that 2024 Purdue coaching DNA on your coaching staff,
you got to take it. You got to do it. You got no choice.
How do you avoid? Yeah.
Steve Belichick was fine.
No,
he's fine. He comes from great pedigree.
Yeah.
But Ryan Walters, sorry to say, North Carolina is a clear upgrade over Steve Belichick. The interesting thing that I think Washington people should know about Ryan Walters.
You think Ryan Walters is a upgrade over Steve Belichick?
Absolutely.
You said North Carolina was an upgrade over Steve Belichick, and I was like, wow, we are going to a deep place.
I don't know what I said.
I am not intelligent enough. Yeah.
I put cayenne on the oatmeal this morning instead of cinnamon.
I love that for you.
And I'm still dealing with the after effects of this, okay? Yep. So forgive me if I have a slip of tongue or two.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to take a guess as to what Washington faithful should know about the Ryan Walters scheme?
Works really well against god-awful 2022 Big Ten offenses. 100% true. Yeah.
Anything else that you might be surprised to know?
I recall Illinois having an incredible corner that year who was taken in like the top 10 of the draft.
Stop it. You know what I'm going to say?
What? Attacking aggressive mentality?
It's aggressive. It's attacking. That's what you're getting out of Ryan Walters. Something else, mentioned this on a previous episode, Taylor Mays is the safeties coach, if you want to blast from the past to make us all feel a little bit older.
Seattle native.
I have got Washington as my white knuckle team of the Big Ten this year.
Okay.
They are not going to win the conference. Not going to win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Shaking my head violently, no.
Okay.
They host Ohio State. They host Illinois. They host Oregon.
It's a good home. Like if you're a season ticket holder for Washington, nice little run.
Season ticket holder. They have a game at Michigan. They might go 0-4 against those teams. They're going to make those teams work for it, dog.
Yes.
This is a team that I think is poised for a really big jump now that Jedd's had a full cycle to kind of get his guys in there. He's got his quarterback to build around. There are going to be some white knuckle situations for teams perceived as much better than Washington. Going to Seattle, obviously, as they go on the road to Michigan. I'm pretty excited about this year for the Washington Huskies.
Okay. I am. I think Jedd Fisch is a pretty good coach. I think there were definite low moments in year one And a lot of that was roster driven and situation driven, losing the way they did to Rutgers, losing they did to Wazoo, the way that, and look, Lincoln Riley gets all the flack out west for how he does or doesn't finish games. But there's some Peter South to Jedd Fisch, right? There is. Things aren't trending north. So I like Washington this year. I like how much deeper they appear to be.
Stop it. Hold on. I need to breathe.
You want to take a moment to digest?
Go ahead. That was good. Go ahead.
The offensive line should be better. They spent in the portal there. They are recruiting well there. So long term, I think the prognosis is pretty good for the offensive line, which I think may have won the Joe Moore Award when they went to the national championship game a couple years ago. It's a very good offensive line then. And I think Damon Williams is good. I think Denzel Boston is good. I think Jonah Coleman is good. I'd like to see more from this offensive line getting consistent push against the better teams on their schedule. Jonah Coleman did absolutely nothing against Oregon. The offense did absolutely nothing against Penn State. That was a 35-7 game, something like that. So what is the higher end? And that was not a Damon Williams game, I don't believe, the Penn State game, until he came in late. Is this team capable of scoring 35 points, 38 points, 33 points against some of the better defenses on this schedule? TBD. And I don't know what I'm looking at in this front seven. I don't know what I'm seeing here to make me think if I'm any of these teams on the schedule, you just like, let's just run it right at Washington. Like, have they improved so much up front with the losses, transfers coming in, that if you're a Washington fan, and I think Ryan Walter just has his work cut out for him, because the secondary should be in a good place. It's Tacario Davis comes over from Arizona. The corners should be good. The secondary should be good. They were great against the pass last year. But why not just run straight at Washington? I'd like to know that in the first month of the season or so.
I do think they got bigger and deeper up front along the line, but now they got to figure out a way to your point, get a little bit better against the rush and do something.
They got Ohio State week 5
against quarterbacks, right? Get some pressure. I mean, the pressure rate actually wasn't horrible, but they weren't converting that into sacks last season. And so they need to find a way to do that. And look, I mean, I kind of portray some of the teams on this schedule as reasons to be interested, and I am under the assumption that they will keep these games interesting. Over the whole, though, there's a lot on this schedule that could go south. There's a lot on this schedule.
Definitely.
That could absolutely go south. Also, there are 5 conference teams coming off bye to play Washington this season.
Ooh.
So I know we like to factor that in, but we've got a situation here where they're going to be teams that are rested and ready for whatever Washington is going to throw at them. So, the line, I think,
including Ohio State, by the way.
Including Ohio State, yeah. It's Ohio State, it's Maryland, it's Rutgers, it's Wisconsin, and I believe Illinois.
Okay.
Those are the 5. So those aren't, all bad teams. There's some pretty good teams on there. And I just think that you're right to be concerned about the line. We don't know how much better it's going to be. For as much as I like Damon Williams, consistency is definitely something that we have to wonder about. And, of course, the schedule gauntlet here.
Yeah.
So I'm under 7.5. For as much as I like Washington, the schedule's pretty tough. I'm going under the 7.5, but I think they're better. I do think they're going to be white knuckle moments with this team. And even though I know I talked them up in part 1 as a sleeper, I still think they're 7-5, but it's going to be a very, very interesting and entertaining 7-5 this year.
Yeah, I'm right there between 7 and 8, which is me just straddling the fence. They're 8-4 if they beat who they're supposed to beat and don't lose something stupid. Like they should beat Wazoo this year, considering what Wazoo lost. They didn't last year.
They didn't.
They should beat. Basically, if you look at this schedule, they should lose to maybe some combination Oregon, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio State, but I don't know. Illinois is at home. Oregon's at home. We'll see what Oregon looks like by then. We'll have a good sense of Illinois. The game against Michigan at Michigan will be tough. They beat Michigan last year.
They beat them. Yeah.
I think we're likely looking at an 8-4 team.